Welcome to Lotus Lane Daily. I'm glad you're here. Today's wisdom is for anyone going through something hard. You know that feeling when you are sitting across from someone at a restaurant, trying to make conversation, and some part of your brain is simultaneously running three other programs. Am I being interesting enough? Is this a mistake? And also, what on earth am I doing here? I was married. Dating after divorce has a specific texture to it that nobody really prepares you for. It is not like being single in your 20s. It is stranger than that, and harder, and sometimes, on the good nights, surprisingly hopeful. Maybe you have been divorced for 6 months or 3 years. Maybe the decision was yours or not, or somewhere in the messy middle. Whatever the specifics, you are now in this territory that most people your age have never had to face. Starting over romantically while also being a person who has already loved someone deeply, built a life with them, and then watched it end. That is not nothing. That is a lot to bring to a first date. And then there is everyone with their opinions. Your friends who are glad the marriage is over and can't understand why you're not out there every weekend. The ones who tell you it's too soon. Your own internal voice, which may be the most unhelpful commentator of all. Questioning every choice, comparing every new person to your ex, wondering if you are capable of this anymore. What nobody tells you about the first part. Here is what the self-help books usually skip. Dating after divorce can feel genuinely ridiculous. And that is okay. You might feel too old for this. You might feel too tired for this. You might go on a date that is perfectly fine. Come home and feel a kind of loneliness that is worse than when you were alone. Because the date reminded you of what genuine connection used to feel like and how far away that seems right now. You are also probably doing this while managing everything that came with the divorce. Financial changes, co-parenting logistics, the emotional weight of the marriage itself, the identity shift of no longer being part of a we. Dating is not happening in a clean, empty space. It is happening on top of all of that. Which means the bar for what counts as a good experience should be low, and the amount of patience you give yourself should be high. The thing that tends to help most in this early stage is not dating advice. It is rebuilding a relationship with yourself. Who are you now, outside of that marriage? What do you actually want your life to feel like? These are not small questions, and the answers may have shifted in ways you haven't fully noticed yet. Taking time with those questions is not wasted time before dating. It is the foundation that makes dating mean something when you do start. The comparison problem. Almost everyone who dates after divorce falls into the comparison trap. New people get measured against the ex, sometimes unfavorably. They don't make me laugh the way he did, and sometimes favorably, which can make you rush things because it feels like relief. Both reactions are understandable, and both can lead you somewhere you didn't mean to go. Your ex set the baseline for what a relationship feels like to you. The comfortable silences, the in-jokes, the particular way of being known that you built over years. Of course, new people don't feel like that. They can't. That kind of ease takes time, and it is not the right thing to compare against on date 3. An old letter puts it simply, do not compare yourself to others. You are you. Your path is your path. Walk it with confidence. Your path through this is not going to look like anyone else's. Divorce means your story went differently than planned. That is not a problem. That is just your actual life, which has its own shape. The practical upshot, rather than measuring someone against your ex, ask a simpler question. When I am with this person, do I feel good? Do I feel seen? Am I interested? That is a more honest starting point. The question of timing. There is no right answer on when to start dating after divorce. Anyone who tells you otherwise, too soon, not soon enough, is projecting their own timeline onto your life. Some people need a year of solitude before they are ready. Some people are genuinely ready much sooner. Both are valid. What matters is whether you are dating from a place of genuine curiosity about another person, or from a place of trying to fill a hole. Loneliness, ego, the need to prove something to yourself or your ex. Dating to fill a hole doesn't tend to go well, not because the people you meet aren't good, but because you are not fully present with them. You are using the date to regulate your own emotions rather than actually connecting with another human being. That dynamic is exhausting for everyone involved. Dating when you have done enough inner work to be curious about life, about yourself, about the possibility of something new, tends to go better, even when individual dates don't work out. The difference is usually something you can feel. Are you walking in with a list of things you need this person to provide? Or are you walking in with genuine openness, willing to be surprised? The parts that are actually good. Dating after divorce has real advantages that get overlooked in all the anxiety about it. You know yourself better than you did at 25. You know what you can live with and what you genuinely cannot. You know what a difficult morning looks like in a long-term relationship, what it costs to share a life with someone, what you actually need in a partner, and not just what you thought you needed. That knowledge is worth something. It means you are less likely to stay in something that isn't right out of inexperience or desperation. You are also more capable of honesty. The willingness to say, I am not looking for something casual, or I need someone who's good at talking about hard things without apologizing for it, is hard-won and valuable. A writer I came across once said, "Each morning we are born again. What we do today is what matters most." That is not just optimism. It is a practical description of how life actually moves, forward, in small increments from where you are rather than from where you thought you would be. You are not starting over from zero. You are starting from here with everything you know and everything you have survived, which is actually a lot. Being patient with the process. There will be bad dates. There will be people who seem promising and then aren't. There will be moments where you feel more alone after a date than before, because proximity to connection that didn't quite land is its own kind of ache. That is part of it, and it does not mean you are doing it wrong. What tends to help is keeping expectations at a reasonable size. Not low. You deserve to be treated well and to find something genuinely good, but not so large that every first date is carrying the weight of your entire future. A first date is just two people seeing if they are curious about each other. That is a small, manageable thing. Let it be that. Tell the truth early in small ways, what you are actually looking for, how you actually feel about things. Not everything at once, but enough that the person you are sitting with has some chance of knowing who you really are. You already know that performing a version of yourself is exhausting and ultimately doesn't work. Use it. Build a life you like outside of dating. The people who seem to do best at this stage are the ones who are not waiting for a relationship to make their life good. They are making their life good. Friends, work they care about, things they enjoy. And dating is one part of that, not the whole project. Someone who is building their own full life is also a more interesting person to go on a date with. There is no guarantee of how this goes, but there is this. You have already survived something hard. You know how to keep going. That is genuinely enough to start with. The rest, the good ones, the surprising ones, the person who makes you glad you kept trying, tends to come when you are moving, not when you are waiting in place. That's the wisdom for today. If something here landed for you, share it with one person who might need to hear it too. Take it slow. I'll see you tomorrow on Lotus Lane Daily.